Hi, Dalton here. Some time ago, I started thinking about why I still feel like playing Arknights and what has kept me in this game for the past 8 months. For comparison, in other gacha games I've practically never spent more than 3 months, and even then, usually with breaks. For example, I played Genshin Impact at launch, but quit in less than a month. Later, I came back from time to time, but the lack of dialogue skipping and the fact that materials needed for character upgrades are locked behind story progression really discouraged me. I played the battle cuts as well. I came back to it from time to time for about a month, but for some reason I can never stay longer. The same goes for Wuthering Waves. I also had a short episode with Zenless Zone Zero and about a 2-month one with solo leveling Arise. What I'm trying to say is that no other gacha game has managed to keep me playing for so many consecutive months like Arknights has. Why is that? The goal of today's video is to answer that question. The first reason comes directly from my personal preferences. While gacha games usually don't keep me engaged for very long, I absolutely love tower defense games. As I mentioned in my first Arknights video, when I found out that there was a game that combined gacha elements with tower defense while keeping everything in an anime style aesthetic, it immediately caught my attention. Until then, I hadn't played any game that managed to combine these two genres in a satisfying way, and Arknights managed to do it. But that's not the only reason. This game is also extremely flexible, and I will explain what I meant by that. If I feel like playing Arknights for an hour or two on a given day, I have no problem finding content or something to do. And by the way, even after 8 months, I still haven't finished the main story because there is a lot of other things to do in this game. The Sanity system, which is Arknights' version of stamina, resin, or whatever you would like to call it, is in my opinion very well designed. Stages only cost full sanity if you clear them successfully. If you fail, the cost is significantly reduced. This means you are not punished for experimenting or trying to clear stages you are not ready for yet. Unlike for example in the battle cuts. And I really like that. The cost of attempting most stages, excluding resource stages, which naturally cost a bit more, is fairly low, around 20 to 21 sanity. That means you can clear about 8 stages per day. If you have a monthly pack, you also receive an extra 80 sanity daily in the form of emergency sanity boosters. This system is very convenient because you decide when to use them. Sanity isn't added automatically. As a player you have a choice. There is a time limit to use the boosters, of course, but overall this solution allows for very flexible play sessions. If on one given day you don't have much time to play, you can simply use auto-deploy and collect everything from the base, and that's usually enough to complete all daily missions. You can save the emergency sanity boosters for days when you have more time or for events. Daily missions take very little time, you can complete them almost instantly. When I was traveling in Japan, I didn't really have time to play Arknights, but I was still able to complete daily missions and spend my sanity. I would just tap auto deploy on an event stage or a resource stage and manage the base. It literally took no more than 2 minutes. I would put my phone with auto-deploy running into my pocket and that was it, done. On another occasion, when I had a lot of free time, I spent over 2 hours trying to clear the final stage of an event while barely using any sanity at all. Although my real-life sanity definitely suffered, but my in-game sanity was barely touched. I even recorded a video of that, right here. The amount of satisfaction I felt when I finally cleared it was huge. It's also worth mentioning that Arknights has game modes that don't consume sanity at all, such as integrated strategies and contingency contract. So if you want to actively spend time in the game, you always have something to do. I think this system works extremely well. If you don't have time to play, you can still keep up, and if you have time, the game gives you plenty of meaningful content. Another reason why I keep playing Arknights is its difficulty. I genuinely enjoy it when a new event drops and I completely steamroll the first few stages with my overpowered squad, even without knowing the mechanics, and I'm not saying that ironically. In games like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, enemies scale with your level, which sometimes makes it hard to really feel how strong you've become. Arknights uses fixed enemy strength for specific stages. If you are overleveled, you completely destroy them. If you are underleveled, you need to think and adapt. but it's still not impossible. Despite owning some of the strongest operators in the game, Arknights still managed to surprise me with its difficulty. Especially the special event stages can be very demanding and often require at least a few, or let's be honest, several dozen attempts to clear. Many of them are much more unforgiving or almost impossible if you don't understand the mechanics. In other words, Arknights offer both fun and challenge. Events also happen very frequently and their mechanics and maps differ from each other, which provides a nice break from the regular campaign. I'm also a huge fan of Arknights' art style. I've made a separate video about this topic, so I won't go into too much detail here. In short, the characters in Arknights don't look like a cheap generic gacha designs. They feel more like something straight out from a fashion show. Every character has a unique style, and you can clearly see that each one was designed with intention. It doesn't feel like a mindless fan service. Of course, Arknights isn't a perfect game, and it has its flaws. For example, the story is told entirely through text, which might be difficult to digest for a dopamine-hungry brains. Events, while interesting and often creative, turn into repetitive auto-deploy farming once all stages are cleared, as you grind to buy out the event shop. This can be a pretty boring form of progression. Personally, it doesn't bother me that much, since I'm also a fan of idle games, so this kind of progression works for me, but I understand that for others it can simply feel tedious. This hybrid approach fits my preferences perfectly. Arknights combine tower defense when it comes to active gameplay with idle style progression when it comes to automated farming. Let's talk a bit about team composition and operators. In Arknights, you don't have to focus only on the rarest 6-star operators. 3, 4 and 5-star operators can also play very important roles. I think this is partly because a squad consists of 12 operators, which allows for much more flexibility than in games like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves. A similar situation exists in the battle cards, where lower rarity units are also very useful. In general, I consider this one of the game's biggest strengths. Lower operators aren't just useless. With over 400 operators available in the game, team composition options are practically limitless. And trust me, from the very beginning, the game gives you a lot of operators, to the point where it can even feel overwhelming. At least that's how I remember it as a new player. The final and very important reason why I still play Arknights today is the community, including you. I know some people love it and others hate it, but as a completely new player, I received an incredible amount of support and many kind words for which I'm genuinely grateful. At the beginning of my journey and even today, people leave long, thoughtful comments full of advice. Once again, thank you very much. These are my reasons for why I still play Arknights, but I'm curious, what keeps you playing? When did you start? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you want to stay up to date and you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, bye!